Nitaya Gaurachandra Radhika Tadale Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Madhura Madhura Meta Mangala Mangalanam Sukrit Nigamavali Satfalam Shitsarupam Sukadapi Parijitam Shnadaya Halayaba Brigama Narayat Tarayat Krishnama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I offer pranams to our Gurudev on Vishnupad Tridendi Swami Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj, our Rupanuga Guru Varga, all devotees, thank you for coming. So, we have been discussing how offenses are like a cloud covering our vision from pure Harinam. So what are those 10 offenses? Mahaprabhu asked to Haridasa Thakura. Prabhu boli Haridas ebesha vishtar Nam aparad vyakya kore atapar. Mahaprabhu asked Haridasa Thakura, please describe extensively the offenses to the holy name. So a little bit we said last night, let's repeat them again. Sadhu Ninda, blaspheme sadhus who glorify the holy name. Anya Deva Swatantra Manana, to consider any demigod like Brahma or Siva or Ganesh to be equal or independent of Bhagavan. 3. Nantappa Guru Ashastra Vinindan, to blaspheme the Guru who gives the holy name. And also to consider the glories of the holy name given in the scriptures to be Artavad, excessive, not true. To give some Harinam Artavad, to give some Kalpit Mana, to give some imaginary interpretation of the holy name. Pap Buri, commit sinful activities on the strength of our holy name. To consider Harinam to be, Anishub Kame Shaman Krishnanam, to consider the chanting of Harinam just another pious activity, like the same as protecting cows or giving charity. And last, 9, to instruct a faithless person on Harinam and to not have complete faith in the chanting, and to maintain attachments of I and mine, even after hearing so much. Okay. Also, namate anavadam. Another offense is given here: inattention while chanting. So, anyone who commits these 10 offenses is a great fool. So, one by one we'll go through them. Take a little while. Okay. So first is to blaspheme the Vaishnavas who dedicate their names to chanting and spreading Harinam. Sadhuninda pratam aparada balijani e aparade jivera hoy sarvahani. By blaspheming the Vaishnavas, we lose everything. Why we blaspheme Vaishnavas? Because we don't understand what makes someone a Vaishnav. And actually, like about 3 weeks ago, we discussed this page. If you may remember, there are 26 symptoms of pure Vaishnav. 25 are tatastha, or secondary. You may see them, you may not see them. It's not so much important. But the one quality which makes someone a Vaishnav, just wait. That is the quality of being fully surrendered to Krishna. Krishna Ika Sadhana. And the other 25 qualities are called, they're like secondary qualities. For example, we may or may not see these qualities in a Vaishnava. Let's read them. We read them the other day. Being a devotee is merciful, tolerant, equal to all, free of hatred, truthful, pure at heart, always acting for the welfare of others, not agitated by material desires, intelligent, self-controlled, not interested in over-collecting. They are gentle, pure, eats frugally, not eating too much, is peaceful at heart, is fully surrendered to Krishna, grave, sober, has defeated the 6 enemies: lust, greed, anger, enviousness, madness, and illusion. What else? They're prideless, respectful to others, expert, honest, and wise. So sometimes, actually, many of us don't know how to glorify Vaishnava. If we glorify Vaishnava for these 25 external or secondary symptoms, this is one type of offense. Means if someone says Gurudev was very expert, Gurudev was very clean, Gurudev did not eat too much, Gurudev controlled the 6 enemies, he always controlled his senses, he had no thirst for material. This is not the glories of the Vaishnava. What are the real glories? They are fully surrendered to Krishna. So if we glorify or criticize a Vaishnava for the presence or absence of these secondary qualities, this is considered Vaishnava aparad. Very, very difficult. Just like, I don't know, what example can we give? Just say someone wants to glorify the president of Russia, Mr. Putin, and someone says, oh, his physique is very nice, or his hairstyle is good, he wears nice suits. This is a material example. If we glorify him in this way, this is like foolishness, because his real position is he's president of Russia. And all these other things are secondary. So in the same way, many times we may not see some of these qualities in a Vaishnava. Maybe they're a little rough, they don't have the quality of mridu, gentleness. Maybe they have a healthy appetite, we do not see the quality of eating frugally, according to our material vision. Then we cannot see these qualities and criticize a Vaishnava. But we forget that Vaishnava is fully surrendered to Krishna, then this is called Vaishnava aparad. So actually in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sarubev himantavya samyak vyavasati sa. This quality is very difficult. This verse, in Bhagavad Gita is very difficult to understand. Because Krishna says, if my one-pointed devotee apparently commits sinful activity, Krishna says, sadhu, I say he is a sadhu. Then question comes, if he's a sadhu, how can he be performing bad activities? If he's a sadhu, how there may be some presence of bad qualities in him? Then maybe he's a partial sadhu. Someone may give argument. Then Krishna says, no, he is full sadhu. So one time the demigods read this verse, they were confused. How can a devotee perform bad activities? So they were arguing about this verse. Then it's described, they saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur walking in the sky chanting Harinama. I think this history is told by Bhakti Rakshak Srila Goswami. Then the demigods like Brahma, Siva and Indra and others, sun god, moon, oh look, there is pure Vaishnava of Gauranga. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we may ask him. So they asked him, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained this verse in two ways. One is for the perfected soul, one is for the practitioner. So, the perfected soul, like the gopis, like Arjun, like Prahlad Maharaj, you can pick almost anyone. The gopis gave up the service of their husbands. For example, they lied to their Gurujan. This is an example of bad activity, sinful activity. Or Arjuna killing his grandfather Bhishma. Prahlad Maharaj disobeying his father. So an ordinary person may look and then, oh no, these persons are not saintly because they're doing bad activities. But the person in knowledge will say, no, no, no. Whatever they do for Krishna's service. They are fully surrendered to Krishna. Therefore, no fault can afflict them. So a person who has that much faith in the activities of the pure Vaishnavas, then for them, Krishna speaks the next verse of Bhagavad Gita. Which is, I should have had a little look, which is, quickly they become saintly. Quickly they become saintly and achieve everlasting peace. O Arjuna, declare it boldly, Nama Bhakta Pranashati, my devotee is never defeated. There is no loss for my devotee. So a person who has so much faith in the activities of the gopis, or the activities of Arjuna, or the activities of Prahlad, who says, no, all their activities are perfect because they are fully surrendered to Krishna, then for them, Krishna speaks the second verse. That devotee who glorifies them, they will quickly become purified. They will achieve everlasting peace. Arjuna, declare it boldly, my devotee is never lost. So the pure Vaishnavas, even though we may see some so-called improper behavior in them, that improper behavior also gives happiness to Krishna. So that is for the siddhas. And for the sadhak, those who have not yet achieved perfection but are in the process, this verse also applies to them. Maybe a devotee is doing sadhana, they're doing shravan, kirtan, chanting Harinama, but by accident, unforeseeingly, they're captured by some past bad impression they have in their heart. Maybe they are overwhelmed by lust or anger or greed and they perform some sinful activity. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, even including murder. Maybe some anger, then you kill someone. No? But that devotee is ananya, means one-pointed, in the stage of sadhana. Then that devotee who quickly, what am I doing? What have I done? I have done very wrong. I'm like a black spot in the Vaishnava community. A person who repents like that, immediately repents. And takes full shelter of Krishna and again applies themselves with one-pointed devotion to the process of devotion, then the next verse also applies to that one-pointed devotee. Means who even in dreams never take shelter of karma or jnana or yoga to purify themselves, but continue to practice one-pointed devotion, then quickly whatever fault they have, that will be destroyed. So this belief, we very rarely see this belief in people. Therefore Krishna himself declares it. I say that sadhak is a sadhu, I say. Therefore, in some good devotee, maybe you may see some mistake or some fall down, or no, but this is accident. Accidentally, momentarily overwhelmed or momentarily bewildered, he acts inappropriately. In that case, we should not criticize. If we do, we will become offenders against Krishna's own instructions. But this thing is very hard to understand. Generally, we are very quick to judge people. The example of many examples are there in Scripture. Who criticized Ajamil? Ajamil was a prostitute hunter, Ajamil was a meat eater, Ajamil was a drunkard, Ajamil abandoned him, many things. But he came again in one-pointed devotion. So who is that person who will criticize Ajamil for his previously performed bad activities, his previous deviations? No one. Everyone glorifies the character of Ajamil. So we should try to become like that, try to see with that vision. So, to criticize, why all this is being spoken? No? To criticize because they're fully surrendered to Krishna, some momentary deviation, but again they come back. You know, like a few years ago in our Gurudev Sangha was one young sannyasi, and he left sannyas and went with a woman. Then many people were defending him. Oh, okay, he deviated, he fell down, he disobeyed Gurudev, but the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks this verse, and Gurudev would say no, because he not came back on the path, he not came again under the instructions of Gurudev. He not tried to rectify himself. So someone who again and again performs bad activity, no, then this is now a habit, so this verse does not apply to them. Okay, P.U., we met her many years ago in Taiwan, so it's good she came for once. So this is the first offense to the holy name, to criticize devotees. So why people criticize? Because of these three reasons we spoke. Because faith in Krishna, faith in the holy name, faith in the process of devotion, where this comes from? This comes from the devotees. Bhakti samjatiya bhakti. Devotion comes from devotion. So if you criticize the devotees, you criticize in that place where you got devotion from. Then what happens? You'll lose. What you got, you'll lose. Like imagine someone's on a lifeboat in the middle of the ocean, they began criticizing the boat they're in and begin pecking holes in it. Who loses? They lose. No? So we'll hear more. That's why the first offense against chanting the holy names of Krishna is to blaspheme the saintly persons. So kon bhagya sadhu sang nama ruchi hoy, Krishna nam goye kore Krishna padashray. By good fortune, someone comes in the association of devotees. And by hearing, they develop faith, they develop taste in the chanting of Krishna's name, they take shelter of the feet of Krishna. So this is the main good quality of anyone, any devotee. And as they continue practicing, these other 25 qualities will appear in their person, there's no doubt about it. But maybe some delay is there. Right? Someone wins lottery, they got a $20 million check, but they haven't got it yet. Doesn't matter. It's in the mail. It's appearing. So, how do we recognize devotee? Not by some external position. Like married devotees wear some white cloth, or brahmacharis wear something, sannyasis wear something. No, but we do not characterize or judge a person by their external appearance. How do we judge a person? How do we judge their devotion? By their quality of full surrender to Krishna. Grihe brahmachari vanaprastha nyasi ved sudra vaishya chatra vipra ganera prabhed. So the Vedic system for the development of the individual and for the development of society, for the development of both, this is called Varna and Ashram. Okay, a little describe it. In this world there are 4 swabhavs, 4 natures, 4 types of persons. Those who are naturally inclined towards worship, meditation, philosophy. They are called the Brahman swabhav. In this world there are some people who are naturally inclined towards business, accumulating wealth, farming, cow protection. This is called the Vaishya. In this world there are people who are naturally inclined to going in the military. Some Some kids are always playing machine guns and cowboys and Indians, and what they do as soon as they finish school, they join the army. They like that, they're attracted to that. This is called Kshatriya. And last, there are people who are not interested in philosophy, not interested in business, not interested in joining the army, they just want to work. So they're called the Sudras. So these are 4 divisions of the individual, and everyone falls into one of these 4. Why the reason the modern education system is such a disaster? Because they do not take into consideration the 4 types of persons. You go to school and all children learn the same thing. Therefore children are forced to study and learn something they have completely no interest in. And that knowledge they get in school also no benefits to them. They will not use that in their desired profession. But the Vedic system is fully different. When the child is like 8, 9, 10, then the parents, the teachers, the guru, the elders of society, the relatives, they discuss what is the nature of this child. Because you can see, this child is naturally interested in philosophy, meditation, study of the scriptures, then you should give him the Brahminical education. Then the child is studying something they have so much taste in, therefore they're happy. When they complete their studies, they'll enter an occupation they have taste in. Therefore, whole life they earn their wealth, they earn their money in a way which is giving them interest. If they see this child is of a militaristic nature, then they give him military training, weapons and all that. A business training, they give business. If business mentality, they give him business training. And if just like to work with their hands, then they give some type of plumbing or mechanics or something. So that the child has taste in what they're studying, they have taste in, and then they have whole life they're happy earning a living in doing something they like. But these days, what happened? Like people who have no interest in injustice, they just want to make money, they study law. People who have no real desire to help people live a holistic life and live a healthy life, they just want to make money, they study medicine. That's why the whole society is upside down. The lawyers, instead of giving this justice, deceive people and cheat them from justice, especially the medical community, instead of promoting good health, are actually fully busy destroying health. Like in the Vietnam War, they forced boys to go and fight. Therefore, they are not by nature militaristic people. Therefore, they felt so much fear, and that's why America lost the Vietnam War. The soldiers who were fighting had no interest in fighting. Anyway, so there we see the collapse of society. So this is how the individual develops. It is called varna. And also there should be something for society, because a collection of individuals also make something in this world. So how society can be stable. Therefore, the development of society is 4 levels. First, there is student life. Then, if one wants, one enters into marriage. Then, at the age of 50 or 60, when children are grown up, one gradually renounces everything. And if one is ready, willing and able, then at old age they fully renounce and take sannyas. In this way, society is very, very structured. Students should be celibate. Then, for example, I'm reading, like if, not pointing the fingers at the girls, but if a girl's been with more than 5 men before marriage, there's 20% chance her marriage will be successful. And for the men, I'm sure it's something similar. So these days, the students are not celibate. There's no purity before marriage. Therefore, 50% of marriages end in divorce, because the boys and girls have so much experience of other sex life, so very easy for them to give up wife and move on to another. So by celibacy in the student age, then there's the people have character, the people have control of their mind and senses. Therefore, the marriages will be stable. If the marriages are stable, then children are protected and nourished and cared for. Then when the children are also expert, and the parents can little detach themselves from material life at the age of Vanaprast, detach from business, detach from children, and concentrate fully on spiritual life and sannyas. So by this system of Varna and Ashram, everyone is categorized, everyone has their place. This is the system made by Krishna himself. So we see all other countries, they've lost their culture. Like now, modern day Greece has any relation to their ancient culture? Completely finished. Modern day Italy has any connection with the Roman society that was so glorious 2,000 or 3,000 years ago? Completely finished. What about the original society of the English people, the Celts or the Germans? All destroyed. But still India, because of the strength of this Varnashram, it's still there. What people follow today, they were following 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago. All these things Bhaktivinoda Thakur discusses in the book Chaitanya Shikshamrita. But we do not judge the Vaishnavas by this process. Sadhutva kokona nahi hoibe ninit, Krishnoika saran sadhu shastra vihit. But we cannot judge a devotee by any of these 8 divisions. We judge a devotee by one quality, how much they take shelter of Krishna. No, therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave instructions how to be sannyasi. He also gave instructions on how to be grihastha, like to Raghunath Goswami, no, to Tapan Mishra and others. Grihejana Shikshaka Nyasi Kula Nyayaka. Mahaprabhu gave by his own example instructions on grihastha life, also on sannyas. What did Mahaprabhu say to Raghunath after he became Raghunath Goswami? Stiroi Garyao Naho Batul Krama Krama Pailoka Baba Sindukul. When Raghunath came and wanted to renounce everything, Mahaprabhu said, no, become steady, don't be a madman, return home. You should Market Vairagya Loke Radaka. Do not practice false renunciation, you should practice Yukta Vairagya, appropriate renunciation. Antaranishta Kore Bahaloka Vyavaha. Inside you should maintain faith in Krishna, and externally you should give example to the world how to be a responsible person in family life. See, Raghunath Goswami wanted to renounce everything, but that time maybe he was not ready. So to instruct Raghunath and the whole world, Mahaprabhu gave appropriate instructions. Everyone should act according to their qualification. If I act beyond my qualification, if I try to cross my qualification and act in a way from which I'm not qualified, I will fall down. So whether we act above our qualification or act below our qualification, both cause degradation. So all these instructions Mahaprabhu gave. Not that Varnashram has no place in Vaishnava in the beginning, it also should be accepted, all these stages, the 4 Varnas and the 4 ashrams. Even though this has nothing to do with the soul, actually, this just is concerned with the temporary nature that we have acquired along with this body. But still, as long as we're in this body, we are controlled by it. So these all things have some place in devotion in the beginning stages, Varnashram. We should understand the soul is also fully transcendental to all these designations. But still, for my development and for the protection of society, we have to give some attention to these things. We cannot follow these ordinary material rules, and how are you going to follow anything superior to them? So, here we go, this description. Ananya sarana yadi deki duracha tatapi sheshadu boli sevya sabaka. But here, Haridasa Thakura is saying, if I see a person who has completely taken shelter of Krishna act inappropriately, I still should consider him a saintly person. And such a person should be served by everyone. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Rupa Goswami gives the example, in the Ganga, especially in the rainy season, you may see so much you may see so much mud, so much pollution, so much foam in the Ganga in the rainy season. But these defects cannot affect the Ganga. The Ganga is still always pure and transcendental. In the same way, in the body of a Vaishnava, you may see some defects. Maybe they're angry, not educated, harsh speaking, lazy. You may see some defect, but this cannot affect their transcendental position, like the bubbles and mud of the Ganga cannot affect the spiritual nature of the Ganga. That's why this is the first Vaishnava, this is the first offense to the holy name. Because many people not understand this thing. So even, okay. Krishnanam ruchi abe hoibe udai. One who has developed a taste for chanting, then one Harinam can destroy all sins, previous sins. But some fragrance of these sins may still remain, just like you burn incense. The incense is finished, but the fragrance of the incense stays for a few days, even though there's no incense burning. So, a devotee's all sins may be destroyed, but something may still be remaining. If you criticize a Vaishnava for some remaining defect, some remaining bad behavior, this is your mistake. Sigre se pap ganda vidurikta hoy. By chanting more, the scent, the fragrance of that sin, that defect will also be fully destroyed. That person will be known as a great saint. Just like you cannot go in a hospital and criticize the doctor. This doctor is mad, foolish, he don't know anything, because everyone in the hospital is sick. No, what do you say? No, yes, they're sick, but everyone's taking medicine. No. If they stay in the hospital more, they will be free from disease and they'll become healthy again. So, ye ikaya ke din se ganda nahi aaye. During those days when the last traces of defect are still not destroyed, ordinary persons will criticize him. Se pap dekiya ye shaduninda kori. Seeing that remaining fragrance, that remaining trace of sin, someone may criticize that devotee. Or maybe he did something before devotion, therefore you criticize him for his previous activities. Then both types of criticism cause one to become an offender to the devotee. This is called sadhu ninda. If someone does this offense to the sadhu, this is an offense against the name of Krishna. Why? Krishna and Krishna's name is same. And Krishna has given all teachings regarding this. So you disrespect Krishna, you disregard Krishna's instructions on this matter, then you become an offender to Krishna and Krishna's name. And this offense makes Krishna angry. That's why it's called aparad. Radha means affection, service, love. No, that's why everyone says Radharani. So which is against love, against devotion, against affection. This is called aparad. Okay. So let's hear some more. No, but always understand this is for some temporary defect, some mistake, not someone who does it continuously. Not like someone smoking ganja again and again. Oh no, Krishna says in Gita, apichet sudurachara. No. Because you are doing this same thing again and again. This is no accident. This has now become your nature. So, Krishnoika Saranan Matra Krishnam Gai. Okay, I'll try to move on because this is a big few pages, 10 pages left. So one who takes shelter of Krishna and chants his name, only that person is saintly. But one who proclaims himself to be a great saint, that is a hypocrite. He is arrogance personified. So we should always never think, oh, this applies to me. We should think this applies to others. So we should not proclaim ourselves to be great saints. Bhaktivinoda Thakur called this person who wraps themselves in the flag of devotion, they're called Dharma Dwajis. Dharma Dwaj. They fly the flag of religion for their own benefit. But say, Krishna, but one who says, I'm very fallen, I'm surrendered to Krishna, because I'm very low, I have to take shelter of Krishna. One who thinks like that, that person is really saintly person. One who thinks himself lower than a blade of grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, who gives all respects to others without demanding respect for himself. That person, Krishna gives them spontaneous attraction to chanting Harinama. That person has the power to make others also fall in love with Krishna. So these four qualities. Gautam Maharaj would tell a story. I'm never going to finish this chapter today. But no problem, because this fault is the main reason we're not making advancement. So we can discuss a little more extensively. And this book is such, even one verse you cannot give up. So Gautam Maharaj told a story, like if you want to hold milk or water, then you can use a clay pot, no problem. Because milk and water, or ghee or oil, it's not so strong thing. But the most strong thing in this world, liquid form, is the milk of a lioness. Milk of a lioness. So that is very powerful. Of course we haven't tasted, so we don't. So to hold the milk of a lioness, you cannot just use an ordinary clay pot, because it will just break it and go through. So the only pot which can hold the milk of a lioness, that is a golden pot. So Gautam Maharaj would say, Krishna Prem is millions of times more powerful and difficult to attain than the milk of a lioness. So a pot or an ordinary heart, full of holes and full of lust and greed, cannot hold that Prem. So the devotee should make their heart a special container. And that container is made of these four qualities. More humble than a blade of grass. You tread on a blade of grass, the grass goes up again after a few days. So we have to be more humble than that. Of course we are not very good at that. Someone criticizes us for how much we burn in anger. So we should be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. Everything the tree has is for others. His bark, fruits, leaves, shade. A tree never asks for water, nothing. So we should be like that, tolerant, steady like a tree. We should give all respect to others and not demand respect for ourselves. There's a story, there was one, he's actually quite a famous king in India. His name was Shivaji. Actually, he defeated the Mughals, he defeated the Muslims. He's quite a character if you read his life a little bit. The king of the Mughal army, the Muslim army, wanted to meet him one-to-one to discuss some peace agreement. So, a peace agreement, you should take no weapons, So this Muslim went, but the Muslim had a tiger claw. I don't know what a tiger claw is. It's some type of weapon you keep on your hand, I guess like the ninjas or something used to use, and it's got like iron hooks, and you put it into the guy and the hooks sink into his face or body and you rip him open. Tiger claws. So the Muslim went to the meeting, but he was hiding some tiger claws. And when he went to embrace Shivaji, he put on his tiger claw and tried to rip the body of Shivaji to pieces. But Shivaji knew what these fellows are like, so underneath his normal cotton cloth, he wore a chainmail suit. So the Muslim was scratching on the metal, nothing happened. Then Shivji picked out a knife and killed him. A very brave man, very brave. No, you can, if you like, you can read about his history. No? So, how he got so powerful, there's a story. He had his guru. So his guru wanted to test him. So his guru said, go and bring me the milk of the lioness. I mean, come on. Really? The milk of a lioness? So Shivji had so much faith in his guru, he was so brave, he went. And there was one lioness, lady lion, 3-4 babies with her sucking the milk. He went, he picked off the babies like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just milked the lioness with his bare hands. I mean, he was so brave. I don't know why I'm telling this, but anyway, these things have some basis in history also. So we have to develop these qualities. Of course, we are not very good at it. But again and again, we have to practice. You know, like someone insults us, we should practice humility. Even though maybe we're not feeling very humble, right? Someone blasphemes us or steals something from us. And inside, we're feeling so angry, right? I'll kill you, I'll fix you later, I'll do some revenge. But Guru Maharaj said, just practice. Oh, I'm very fallen, yes, you did good thing. Like, just by practice, that practice becomes habit. So especially we live in the temple or associated with the devotees, we should always practice this. Even though we're not feeling, always practice humility. So these qualities please Krishna so much. So, any person from whose mouth I hear Harinam, I call that person a Vaishnava. I also offer respects to them. Vaishnav se Jagat Guru Jagatera Bandhu. Vaishnav Sakala Jeev Sada Kripa Sindhu. The Vaishnav is the Guru of the whole world and the friend of the whole world. Like now I'm in Nepal, Kathmandu. So there's a deity of Lord Shiva called Koteshwar Mahadev. So we came to Nepal like 8 years ago. Madhusudana Maharaj gave 7 days Qatar in that temple. And the temple gave him the name Vishwabandhu, friend of the universe, friend of the world. So Vaishnav said Jagat Guru, the Vaishnav is the Guru of everyone. Jagatera Bandhu, the friend of everyone. Vaishnav Sakala Jeev Sada Kripa Sindhu. The Vaishnav is the ocean of mercy to everyone. Even they chastise us. That is also mercy. Ehen Vaishnav Nindaye Janakori Nara Puribe Se Janma Janmantari. We're hearing just by chanting Harinam, all one's sins are destroyed. But anyone who criticizes a Vaishnava, birth after birth, they go to hell and stay there. Means Vaishnava Ninda, criticizing a Vaishnava is thousands of times worse than sinful activity. But still we should understand in some cases, criticism may be necessary. Right here I am, contradicting myself. Yeah? Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a very confidential article. 3 times that criticism cannot be called a fault. No. Like Prabhupada, for example, Prabhupada went everywhere. Like I heard he went to South Africa, and when he came back he laughed. He said, I called them donkeys, camels, asses and monkeys, but still they loved me. I heard it like that. So you read Bhagavatam, many times Prabhupada criticizing feminism, criticizing excessive materialism, criticizing impersonalism, criticizing false gurus, false yogis. Many people he criticized. But this cannot be called, this type of criticism is no fault. Why? Because criticizing to protect devotion, criticizing to rectify someone, and criticizing to save others. In these 3 cases, that criticism is not a defect. Now maybe you see some simple-hearted person, they're going to some Vaishnav, some sadhu, but that sadhu's character is not good. Because we cannot be blind, we are not fools, right? We cannot just stick our head in the sand, we have to see everything. One simple person is going there, but you know that person's character is bad, or even though he's a devotee, maybe he's a thief, or maybe a liar, or a woman hunter, or something. And you see some soft-hearted person, innocent person going there, what should you do? Remain silent? Then that new person will be destroyed. At that time, to save someone, you may criticize that devotee. That is not a fault. Because you're doing it to benefit someone. No? If you criticize to rectify that person, that is also not a fault. If you have good intention, of course. Definitely many times, our Gurudev would speak badly about someone. Why? Because 100% Gurudev knows that Gurudev's message will go back to that person. And that person, if sincere, oh, yes, Gurudev said right, why I'm doing like that? No? So that criticism that Gurudev spoke about a devotee to another person is not a fault because Gurudev is speaking to rectify that person. And to protect the sanctity of devotion, you may also speak some criticism, that is also not a fault. So actually we have to be very, very intelligent. Sometimes to not speak the truth, that may also be a fault. That may also be a mistake. So when to speak, when not to speak, need experience. Actually Krishna says even, I think in Gita knows, oh Arjuna, to understand what is Dharma, and understand what is not Dharma, very difficult to understand. Sometimes irreligion becomes religion. Sometimes to follow religion at that time may also be a fault. So what to do? Krishna gives intelligence, Guru Vaishnava give intelligence. So especially the character of pure, but better than not to do generally. Unless we're on the stage of Madhyamadika, better not to do anything. Because Madhyamadika have to judge everything. That is the quality of the Madhyamadika. The Madhyamadika has, he knows who is a bad character, who is good character. They know, they can see. And according to that, they instruct others and guide them in the right direction. They know who is Uttam Vaishnava. They know who is middle class devotee. They know who is Kanishta, and they know who is envious. So a middle class devotee must always judge, must always criticize. Language problem. Must always discriminate, I should say, that's better. So all judgment comes in the stage of Madhyamadika. The Kanishta, he cannot, the beginning devotee cannot understand what is good or bad, and the pure devotee also doesn't know what is good or bad. So, Madhyamadikari, we have to not artificially act like those on the highest stage. Like sometimes you speak something, people say, oh no, don't criticize, don't see the bad. Like, come on, man. Like some guy's smoking. He's smoking, hey, don't criticize. We cannot be blind also. So we have to know some fault may be there, and if we do not see that and we associate with that person, that is also a defect. So anyway, if in doubt, keep mouth closed, that's the best. Because if you end up just criticizing everyone, one day you're going to find fault in high class, pure Vaishnava, and you'll speak badly about them, then you'll lose everything. So better to, actually Guru Maharaj especially would talk about this constantly. Guru should be Madhyamadikari. Because Madhyamadikari can give us instructions and protect us. Madhyamadikari is two types. The pure devotee who comes down to the platform of Madhyamadikari to preach, or someone who generally comes upwards to the stage of Madhyamadikari. This person can help us in this world. Like Gaukashoda's Babaji Maharaj. How many disciples he had? One, Saraswati Thakur. Only Saraswati Thakur could understand him. Because he was Avadut, Mahabhagavad. So if Mahabhagavad acts always absorbed in their internal mood, who will understand them? They cannot see our faults, they won't speak any punishment for us, they won't rectify us, they won't give us any good instruction, because they're absorbed in their own mood. So unless the Uttamadhikari comes down to the Madhyamadhikari, they cannot benefit us too much. So very hard in this world to find proper Madhyamadhikari. People don't know what to look for. In this world, people are most unfortunate. Therefore, the Kanishta Adhikari always misled. Always misled. So, one can only achieve devotion by the mercy of a Vaishnava. There is no other way. Vaishnava Deti Take Shri Krishna Shakti. Krishna's potency always rests in the body of a Vaishnava. Sedeya Spashanya Hoy Krishna Bhakti. By touching their body, by serving them, that potency comes. Vaishnavaranamrita Ar Padajal. Vaishnav Pararaj Tinna Mahabal. Many ways this same thing is spoken different ways in Bengali. Vaishnava Vavashishta Vaishnav Parajal Vaishnav. Sorry, what is it? No? Vaishnav Padaduli and Vaishnav Parajal Vaishnavera Vavashishta Tin Sharanba. That Chaitanya Charitamrita. No? The food remnants of the Vaishnav. The water that has washed the feet of the Vaishnava and the dust which has touched the feet of a Vaishnava, these three are very powerful. If one stays for even a few moments near a Vaishnava, they will contact Krishna's potency. But Kanupriya, we stay many, many years away from the Vaishnava, you'll become weak. Why you're not coming to Vrindavan? I told many years you have not come. As we give the class, who's watching the class, their name comes up on the screen. So, say Shakti Shraddhavan Hridaya, by staying near a Vaishnava, this is called Vaishnava Sangha, then Krishna's potency enters into us. How they give their blessing, no? By their glance, no? By their touch, and by their good wishes, by our service, they will think of us. No? Bhaktivedanta Bhaman Goswami Maharaj gave example. The chicken always hatches the egg by always sitting on the egg. So some people get Gurudev's mercy, Vaishnava's mercy by always being with the Vaishnavas. Then, glance. The turtle lays eggs on the beach. Then the turtle goes in the ocean. Oh no, but the turtle always thinks of the eggs. And by the turtle's meditation, the eggs hatch. So by our service and by our affection, Guru Vaishnava will remember us, then devotion will come. And lastly, by their glance, the fish has many eggs in the ocean. I guess also the frog. Then the fish, by glancing at the eggs hatch. So Krishna's mercy comes to us in three ways: by the glance of the devotee, by the meditation of devotion, by the devotee, and by the touch of the devotee. Ye Bosila Vaishnava Nikate Shraddhaya Tad Vidoya Bhakti Hoebe Udaya. Bhakti comes in the heart of that person who faithfully stays near a Vaishnava. No? Faithfully stays. Gurudev would always say the bedbug is always with Gurudev. But we cannot say he's doing Vaishnava Seva or association with Guru. So just being near Gurudev and Vaishnavas is not enough, Purushottam. Right? One has to do with faith. And this is not an easy thing also, because we have material senses, we're always seeing defects, we're always seeing material things. Therefore again and again we have to hear this thing, again and again. Vaishnava, therefore to understand a Vaishnava is not easy. Even Brahma and Shiva become bewildered seeing their activities. Okay. Pratama Shiva Tar Mukhi Krishna Nam, from the first time they chant the name of Krishna, by that time all good qualities start to manifest. And so you understand, everything comes by mercy of devotee. You criticize devotee, then you lose everything. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur has structured everything like this. If everything comes by Vaishnava association, then by blaspheming a Vaishnava, you lose everything. You lose everything. So we'll hear what are the different ways to criticize a Vaishnava. Different ways we find fault with them. Okay. Let's hear one thing we can think about before we sleep. A person who criticizes a Vaishnava's birth. One who criticizes a Vaishnava for their previous actions. One who criticizes a Vaishnava for some remaining defect. One who criticizes a Vaishnava for their momentary lapses. This person is a fool and will be punished by Yamaraj. Trying to remember these four. Right? Who criticizes their birth, who criticizes their previous activities, who criticizes any remaining defects, and who criticizes any momentary lapses. This person would be punished birth after birth by Yamaraj. Okay, thank you very much. Now, tomorrow night, maybe cannot give class. Let's see, because I don't think so. We met some new guys in the temple. And we're going to give a class in their house tomorrow night. So, 4, they said come at 4, but in Nepal 4 means 5. So I don't think we'll be able to give tomorrow night. But, oh no, yes, tomorrow's Saturday. Yes, so let's see. Okay, thank you everyone, thank you very much. Bless me, I can also follow these instructions. Because we follow these instructions, we can just follow this, then the path is open. The path is clear, there will be no disturbance for us. So, Go Pramanandit. Harinama.